All right, everybody, welcome to Shot of Sports. We got Billy, we got me, Jalen, obviously. We got Donovan, supposedly he's coming on here soon. We don't know what time he's waiting for his food. And then DC isn't feeling so well right now. So we're going to start off this, like what we always do. Biggest news, World Series, MLB. Astros, Phillies, Citizen Bank Park tonight, 8:03 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. We got Syndergaard. We got McCullers. We got. Look, I think we got to do it tonight. What you think?
Well, listen, I'm gonna say I told you so. Told you they steal game one or game two. One of those games you have to steal one with Nola and Wheeler pitching. Unfortunately, both pitchers, let's be honest, overall did not play great. I mean, when you let up 2 or 10 runs between the two of you guys, that's got to be better. But honestly, I'm not particularly. I'm feeling good if you're a Phillies fan. You're going back home. You're not down 2-0. It could have been easily 2-0 after being down 5-0. But you're going in at home. Game three, though, is huge. Because to me, it's like the Astros are favored in this game for a reason. It's not really because their lineup's so much better than the Phillies, because I don't really think that's the case. It's not because the bullpen's been so much better. Actually, the bullpen for the Phillies is yet to give up a run this series. And the Astros have given up 3 runs. It's coming down to, can Noah Syndergaard just do enough today? If he can just give you 3, maybe even 4 innings of just not giving up plethora of runs, just don't give me a Bailey Falter. Just don't give me that game with 4 runs in the first inning. Please, just don't give me that. Give me a game where like the Braves game where he started like a couple weeks ago, where he came in, he only gave up, I think, 1 solo shot. But other than that, he was great. I don't think he gave up a hit or another guy on base after that. If we can get that out of him, it would be huge dividends. The difference between these two lineups, though, and I would like to get your thoughts on this, is the Astros like to jump on you early. You've seen it with Tucker. He can hit the home run ball. We've seen Bregman do it. We've seen in game 2, they were hitting doubles and getting 3 runs in the first inning. But the Phillies, in the first 3 innings especially, you're just sitting back and going, me as a Phillies fan, I'm watching like, all right, we're fine. We just need to go through the lineup, get a feel for this pitcher. But then after the 3rd inning, and when the second time that lineup comes through, I mean, you see Schwarber get better. You see Rhys Hoskins hit the home run ball. You see JT getting on base. You see Harper doing better. All of our guys do better throughout the game. We've seen it. The first time the Phillies lineup went through Verlander, none of them could touch him. Second time they come through, they get 6 hits out of nowhere. So I think that if the Phillies can just stay patient throughout the game, they could beat the Astros. Tonight's going to be a tough ass, though, with Noah Syndergaard on the mound.
Yeah, you got it. You're right. Definitely, I believe that. Let's just be honest. If any one of these teams start being like the Astros did in game 2, like they did in game 2 in that first inning, it could go either way on both sides. If the Phillies do it like they did, like the Astros did in game 2, it's Phillies' fault. If the Astros do it again, we're going to have to say Philadelphia, we have a problem.
Not wrong.
You're right. Definitely, Syndergaard does give up a lot of plethora of runs to turn into a bullpen game real fast, which Philadelphia Phillies cannot do. But yeah, definitely, I believe that game 3 is big. It's just like another game 1. If you take in the first away game away from the home team, you kind of setting the tone. Then you're going to set up that game 6, and that's going to be that game 5, and that's going to be even more important. So I believe that. We got Donovan, who just joined. What's going on? How was your weekend, bud?
It was tiring.
I hear you.
Terrible.
I hear you.
How are y'all doing?
Yeah, definitely. If the Astros and Bregman, I mean, Jordan has yet to really get hot, really get going. He had that 1 double, and that was really it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And Altuve has gotten going. Now, can he bring it back? again, that's yet to see. But we haven't seen Jordan really get going. We've seen Kyle Tucker get going. We've seen Alex Bregman just got going. Jeremy Pena still hasn't gotten going yet either. He's had that one double.
He hasn't, yeah.
So if those two guys back to back, because they bat right back after each other, Pena, then it goes to Alvarez. If them two get going, it's going to be a real problem. It's going to be a long series. But yeah, definitely the Phillies definitely have to get Bryce Harper going. He hasn't done well. All he had was that one single in game 2. Schwarber almost hit 2 bombs, but one was 2 inches foul and the other one was a deep fly ball to literally the warning track of the wall. And, really the only offense was JT Realmuto. I mean, that was just really that one hit what really solidified that game. Walks as well. Walks will come back and hurt you. Just ask the Astros. They gave up 5 runs in game 1. Walks hurt a lot. They come around and score. That's free 90s. So I believe that if, I'm still rolling with my Astros in 6, but I'm now getting a little, worried just a little bit because, I didn't see it going 1-1 like this. I thought it was going to be definitely 2-0 Astros. But, yeah, definitely see this series going in 6 still Astros way, but I am still breathing a little. I'm kind of nervous a little bit now because, now it's 1-1, not 2-0 like I thought it was going to be. But we got McCullers, we got Syndergaard tonight. In other news, we got the Royals, who just hired a new manager as they got rid of their manager, Mike Matheny. Royals hired Matt Quatraro as their next manager, then parting ways with Matheny. What do you think about that one?
Kansas City for the last couple of years haven't been great. So I think they just needed a new leader in the clubhouse. So listen, whatever can get those young guys on that team to get developed better is going to help them exponentially. I mean, they're trying to make Bobby Witt Jr. their guy. And by the way, he has the talent to be their guy.
He's
Salvador
Perez as well.
Oh, he's so good. And we've seen Salvador Perez have a down year compared to last year. So overall, I mean, they just need they need an overall leader in the clubhouse. Because let's be honest, that division's it's so up for grabs. It really is. I mean, the White Sox are the most talented team in that division, and they look disappointing. And Minnesota's got more talent, is probably second in talent, and they couldn't get the job done. And Cleveland, who has so many young cats on that team, and outside of Jose Ramirez, but a lot of young guys, and they almost go to the ALCS. So, I think for that team, that division, if the Royals can get the right pieces and if this manager works out for them, they can very easily make a run for the AL Central.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely I think it was just really a change of leadership. I just see the Tigers had the Detroit Tigers and the Detroit Tigers had really just signed an area scout, a new amateur scout. So really not much news going on in MLB as of right now, other than that. Nolan Arenado, he's coming back to the Cardinals. He's going to exercise his option to 2027. So he's going to be a Cardinal for a while.
Thank the
That's
Lord.
big for them. That's really big for them because, he kind of has some MVP numbers this year. You know what I mean? You look at it.
Goldschmidt.
Yeah, him and Paul Goldschmidt were back-to-back or right next to each other MVP numbers. So, them two come back together to give it another go. Adam Wainwright signing a 1-year extension to come back. He signed a free agent deal. He's coming back to play another season.
To me, that's good for the Cardinals, but at the same time, he's getting old. So
Yeah.
I mean, you can't rely on an old arm for too long. So
oh yeah, for sure.
that's
that's
my thoughts on that.
Yeah, just ask how Astros are feeling with Justin Verlander right now. Old arms isn't really going well right now. So
and Verlander's. I mean, obviously, Waino is too. And if you're a Cardinals fan, a generational pitching talent.
sure.
Yeah.
But when that generation's up, I mean, it's hard to rely on them for too long into a season.
For sure. Well, we got Phillies and Astros again tonight, 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. McCullers, Syndergaard, Cubs. Not really making any moves right now. We're just waiting it out. I see Wilson Contreras is still in the market. Jose Abreu is on the market for the White Sox. Just the local teams. The Philadelphia Phillies are obviously in the World Series.
Yep.
Yeah, that does baseball. So we're going to go to basketball real quick. I'm going to give you a rundown with basketball because we don't have DC with us today. In the headline news, we have the 76ers beating the Bulls. So now 76ers are now 3-4. They won back-to-back games. So they're on a 2-game win streak, getting them to 3-4. They really needed that. My Bulls are struggling, dropping 2 of the last 3. And the Warriors are 3-4, dropping 2 games in a row as well. On Saturday, the Bucks beat the Hawks 123-115. As we know, Giannis put up another 30 and 10. We had the Cavaliers on Friday. We had a real big game on that one on Friday. We had the Cleveland Cavaliers topping the Boston Celtics in overtime. We had 2 players dropping 40 on the same team. They both dropped 41. Karis LeVert, Donovan Mitchell for the Cavaliers. They both combined for 82 points. Jason Tatum. Go ahead.
I think that Cavaliers team is going to be an underrated team in the East. I think they're a sleeper, and I say this because they are full of young talent. And I mean, if you can consistently get those guys to score, I mean, obviously, 41 a game is a little outrageous to say, but I mean, if they're both scoring at that high of a level against a team like the Celtics,
yeah, for sure,
throughout the entire season, they're going to be a team to watch closer to the end of the season for sure.
You got
no, that's all I had.
Okay, we have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both finishing with 32, so they both combined for 64 points. So we have 4 guys over 30 in that game, as that Cavaliers topped the Celtics 132-123, pushing the Cavaliers to 4-1. And we're going to go into other big news as well, that the Lakers, I'm about to say it, the Lakers get their first win of the season last night against the Denver Nuggets. Lakers moved to 1-5. You have LeBron James. He dropped 26. AD put up 23 and 15 rebounds. And the Lakers shot 43% from 3-point range. See what happens when you shoot the ball? You see what happens when you can shoot the ball. Nikola Jokic put up 23 points and 14 rebounds. And Jamal Murray had 21 points, getting back to his 20-point self. We have the Lakers winning that 121-110. They are still at the bottom of the league as well. But, there are hope. There is hope. They shot over 40% from 3. So
is this a turning point for the Lakers, you think? I mean, I know it's just one game, but I mean, in a game like basketball, one game can be the switch.
Yeah, you got to build on something.
Yeah,
they made one smart move, and Russell Westbrook's on the bench, and it's been. I mean, it clearly has paid dividends. Listen, I think Westbrook's a good player, and I think on most teams he's a starter. But for this team, he has to come off the bench because him and LeBron cannot be on the court at the same time. And you can clearly see it. I mean, literally. And what they've also done is another thing. They're playing AD strictly in the paint. Anthony Davis took 20 shots. Not a single one was outside the perimeter. All of them were under the rim. They were like, listen, you got to go against Jokic. You need to show up against him because he's one of the best centers in the NBA, if not the best, back-to-back MVP. We need you to show up. LeBron did his thing on the court, and what they got from Lonnie Walker too. He was shooting the ball really well. Austin Reeves was shooting the ball very well as well. I think he was 3 for 4 from outside the arc.
Three for 6, 2 for 4 from 3.
Yeah, like that is outstanding
Yep.
for them. And
And-
overall, like they're playing better with Westbrook on the bench because if you give him on the ball, he's one of the best players in the NBA. The issue is when you have LeBron, you can't have the ball the whole time. So, and he's
Yep.
not a good off-ball player.
Here's something to look at too. Yes, they started Patrick Beverly over Russ. Good move. Patrick Beverly only played 21 minutes compared to Russ's 32 minutes played. And that's 5 points compared to 18. So
That's huge because Russell Westbrook actually did play a couple minutes with LeBron. And I saw on a couple of the recaps that Westbrook had a ball in his hands. He looking around like an actual true point guard, found LeBron on the wing, got him a bounce pass to lead him to the basket, and he dunked it in. That kind of play right there will tell the Lakers that their season is going well. If they're not doing those plays and just jacking up threes, it's not going to happen. It's not going to fold. They only put up 33s. They put up 33s last night. They hit 13 of them. That's 43.3%.
Yep.
They hit over 40% from three. You do that with some timely shooting, you might actually have some over there in LA. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to shoot 43% for the rest of the season. It's not happening. They're going to obviously drop back down to 20%. But in other news, like Lonnie Walker put up 18, he hit 3 for 5 from deep. LeBron put up 26, he hit 2 for 5 from deep. Even Westbrook, he shot 50% from deep. He hit 2 threes.
Yep.
2. He didn't hit the backboard this time. He got the ball
shot,
into the cup.
He shot 50% in total. You know, three pointers aside, he shot 50%, 6 for 12 the whole game. And with that 18 points, that's and he had three fouls and 3 turnovers, but I mean you can't expect him to not have any turnovers either. But he's either scoring or not having turnovers, one of the two.
The Pelicans beat the Clippers 112-91. Zion came back this game. He had 21 points and 12 rebounds. And that's CJ McCollum had 22 points and hit 4 threes. So that goes to show you right there that, with Giannis on the court, they're a real problem. They're 4-2. The Clippers moved down to 2-4. Still no Kawhi Leonard. He is still sitting out. So that is some big news right there for the Clippers. He's still opting not to play. He's still sitting.
He's opting not to play?
Well, I mean, I want to say, he's opting because he can go. He could go out and play, but he and the medical staff are both saying that, I'm going to sit. So they're both opting him to not play. Okay,
so as long as it's injury related, so I don't have a problem with that one, really. I mean, he's not just sitting just to be sitting for like load management. No, they're bringing him back easy. Yeah, which is good. That'll be good for the Clippers. I'm not too worried about their 2-4 record right now. And I say that because when they do let Kawhi loose, it's not like he's not practicing with the team or anything. So the team knows how to play with him. And obviously they're struggling to play without him. But, when they get him back and he is healthy 100% and they just let him loose, they're definitely going to be a force to reckon with. And I guarantee if they play the Pelicans again, that score's going to be a different, might even be flipped. So
Paul George only had 14 points. So that's some news right there. He's got to do a lot more with Kawhi not on the court as well. So tonight's lineup, we got the Kings and Hornets, we got 76ers and Wizards, Pacers and Nets, Hawks and Raptors, Pistons and Bucks, Grizzlies and Jazz, along with the Clippers running a back-to-back against the Rockets. So that's basketball for this Monday and one this evening. So we're gonna go to Billy with football. Hit us up, man. We got a lot of NFL and college talk.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's just start off with the NFL. The game of the week by far, Falcons, Panthers. What a game that was. 37 points scored in fourth quarter and overtime. It was an offensive explosion. I think we got to talk about this with – going to start off with Carolina. PJ Walker, in my opinion, should be the starter for the rest of the season at this point. Listen, I get it. He's not the most flashy quarterback in the world. He's not the greatest quarterback in the world. But what he does so well is just make plays when it matters. That throw to DJ Moore to bring that game to overtime was one of the greatest throws I've ever seen in my life. That was a 65-plus yard dime in double coverage. Also, speaking of DJ Moore, fantasy owners of DJ Moore like myself, we can finally rejoice as he had a great game this week. Dante Foreman for the Panthers had his coming out party, 3 touchdowns and over 100 yards rushing. Overall, one of the best games, but DJ Moore takes his helmet off. Kicker misses an extremely long extra point. And then he has a second chance. Mariota throws a pick in overtime. The Panthers have a chance, and he pushes it again. Or pulls it again. And then Atlanta goes on a nice drive down the field and are able to win the game. Atlanta is now number 1 in the NFC South at 4-4. But to be honest, this division can really go to anybody. It could even be the Saints. It could still be the Panthers. It really could go to anybody. It's just been a lot of mediocrity so far through those teams in that division. But I like Atlanta because I like their coach and I like what they're building overall. Some other news in the NFL. If anybody watched the Niners-Rams game, Christian McCaffrey made history. He's the first player in NFL history since LaDainian Tomlinson to have a rushing, receiving, and a passing touchdown in a single game. He was unbelievable for them. 94 yards on the ground. He had 55 in the receiving game with 8 catches, and he also threw a 34-yard touchdown pass. The Niners, man, when they get healthy and they start clicking, it's hard to believe that they're not the best team one of the best teams in the NFL. They're definitely in that Super Bowl bubble. Some other really interesting games this week. Patriots, they respond against their division rival Jets. Jets have still yet to beat the Patriots in regulation since 2010. That is crazy. Packers, Bills. The Packers, they're still bad. It's not pretty with what they're doing offensively. They had no chance against Buffalo, to be honest with you. That was just a tough game. And I don't know if you guys watched. How about Washington beating the Colts? If anybody saw the throw Taylor Heineke made to Terry McLaurin, that was a beautiful throw and an outstanding catch to help win that game for them. Saints with an absolute beatdown on the Raiders, 24-0. Seattle, that defense is good, guys. I don't know if you watched that. That defense is good for them. And the Giants, it's tough to go up there in the Northwest and beat them. It's tough to beat them when that team is getting it going. And right now they're leading the NFC South at 5-3. Minnesota just keeps on winning at 1 o'clock. Their 34-26 win over the Cardinals. Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock is a different breed, guys. He's really good. And
he gets his Sunday nap in before the game and he's good to go.
Yeah, and if you take, here's the thing though with Kirk Cousins, you take away one start, which was against the Eagles, which I think we can all agree was not the prettiest game from him. He's been playing lights out football so far, so you got to give him credit where credit is due.
But at the same time, he was playing the Eagles, who are currently 7-0. So I mean,
that's what I mean. Like you can't really, can you knock him that much? I mean, let's be honest, a lot of quarterbacks have not been looking good against the Eagles this year. Speaking of the Eagles, they go out there. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are they're here to stay. Them two just took over the game.
I'm
I
an
know the
AJ
score
Brown. I'm
looks
an AJ Brown fantasy. Oh, I'm an AJ Brown fantasy holder. And I'm reaping all the benefits of AJ Brown's 150 plus yards with 3 touchdowns.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. Him and Jalen played outstanding. And the game I know looks like a blowout, but Pittsburgh hung in there, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Kenny Pickett, I know, didn't look like the greatest numbers, but if you watch the game, he made some really nice throws. And honestly, if Pittsburgh, I think you give him a little bit of a chance this year. I actually kind of like Kenny a little bit. Then you got some other games. You got Bears going to Dallas. Dallas Cowboys, defensively, they let up a little bit against the Bears. And listen, I talked about this before. If you could run on Dallas. You could definitely run on Dallas. The issue is the Bears defense just did not show up. Can't let up 49 points. That's bad. And Justin Fields didn't play bad. The Bears offense didn't play bad. The defense just wasn't there. And if Robert Quinn is that big of a difference for them to go from not allowing like any points the last couple of weeks to now they're letting 49 points against Dak Prescott, who I don't even know if Dak's completely healthy yet, to be honest with you. It's not the best news for them. Keep this going. Dolphins come back against Detroit. They let up 27 points in the first half, and they don't allow a single point in the second half. Miami's 5-0 with Tua at quarterback. He has been playing some outstanding football. Denver finally gets a win. They beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville's lost 5 games straight, all by 1 possession. That hurts. If you're a Broncos fan, that definitely sucks. Only other game we haven't talked about is the Titans-Texans. Texans made it tough on the Titans, but Derrick Henry is a different breed, ladies and gentlemen. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. If you thought he was dead, he's still that man. They ran for over 300 yards, guys. 300 yards. Malik Willis in his first start wasn't the best. 6 for 10 for 55 yards and interceptions. Not the prettiest numbers, but he got the job done. And he got the win for the Titans. On the Texans side of things, they're one of the worst teams in football for a reason. They're more of a rebuilding stage, but they're not getting out coached. You got to give it to Lovie Smith and them boys. They're coaching well. But overall, it's hard when you're not the most talented team. The game tonight, Bengals-Browns, big AFC North matchup. I know a lot of people are probably going to pick the Bengals tonight because, they are the better team. But Joe Burrow in his career against the Browns is 0-3 as a starter. So, honestly, I think I like the Browns tonight. I don't know if you guys agree, but I like the Browns to win this game.
Without Jamar Chase, it'll be close, but I'm still going to give the nod to Joe Burrow's arm. Jacoby Brissett is just not – he's not it right now. They're really missing Deshaun Watson a lot. Even though he hasn't stepped on the field for them yet, but having Deshaun Watson as your starter quarterback, if he comes back to what he was, you're missing him a lot. I just don't see them putting it in the air too much. I believe the Bengals are going to really key in on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and make a difference on the line of scrimmage and force Jacoby Brissett to pass. And you do that, turnovers are going to happen, incompletions. He doesn't have the best arm. And I'm really just going to give the nod to Joe Burrow's arm because they're healthy, but they don't have is Jamar Chase. Yeah, but they have all their other wide receivers that goes off. So and they have Joe Mixon.
We do got to watch that. Jamar Chase is out. So I think Burrow's numbers will be down a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit from what we've been seeing from him as of late. But it's still got to give the nod to the Bengals, regardless. The Browns have been, unfortunately, the laughing stock of the NFL for the last couple of years. It seems they try and get something going, and then I mean, take Deshaun Watson, for example. They gave him the benefit of the doubt, and now it's starting to bite them in the butt here a little bit. Not off to a great start. They still don't have Watson playing for his reasons. Browns are just not looking good again this year. So got to go with the Bengals.
Gotcha. I think it's
Definitely
a
going
good
to take the Bengals because even though they don't have Jamar Chase, they had T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd just put up 155 yards with 2 touchdowns last week. T. Higgins, over the course of the season, has had over 90 yards receiving in 2 games before and has multiple touchdowns. So I don't really think – I mean, yes, you're losing your number 1 wide receiver, but let's just be real. T. Higgins could be a number 1 wide receiver as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tyler Boyd is a great slot receiver. He can easily be a number 2 now. I'm not.
Yeah.
You can't knock those guys. So they got some production. He gonna definitely throw a little more screen passes to Joe Mixon a little bit more. But I see T. Higgins gonna have definitely a good 80, 90, maybe even 100-yard plus day. I think he's gonna have that day.
Yeah,
that's just my.
I just think, with me, I don't know if I like the only reason I like the Browns tonight is because Burrow's just not had great past experiences against this team.
Right.
But overall, my overall take is it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a
yeah. I'm not saying that at all.
I want to make that clear. Because here's the thing with Cleveland. You take away that Patriots loss, every one of their games have been 1 possession. They don't get blown out. Even against the Ravens a couple weeks ago, they didn't get blown out. They know how to make it tough. They're going to make it physical for Cincinnati. And I think guys like Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, they're going to make their plays. And let's not discredit what the Cleveland's got in the secondary with Denzel Ward, with Gavin Newsom. I mean, he's a very good corner over there. So that's what I think. With that, I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, yes, you're going to have to focus on them, but let's not forget that the Cleveland Browns, they got a really good tight end, David Njoku. They got Amari Cooper. They have a very good offensive line. They're going to, if the only way, the Cleveland's going to have to scheme their way to win this game. And let's be honest, Kevin Stefanski so far has had his number against Zach Taylor. So I just think that Cleveland's going to make it really tough and physical for them. It's going to be a great game tonight. But going to college football, before we get into any games, literally as we're on this show, we got news. Auburn just fired their head coach.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yep. Auburn just
he's
fired
9-12 as a starter. 9-12 as the head coach. Not the best resume for them. They were supposed to have high expectations in the SEC this year. And, let's be honest, not the best showing so far for the Tigers. But going into some games, Notre Dame looks like they figured something out, guys. They are now they beat the shit out of Syracuse at the Orange, 41-24. They just ran the ball really, really well. Well over 200 yards rushing for the boys. They played extremely well. And, for Syracuse, they were looking great. And clearly since the 4th quarter of that Clemson game and so far this game, they look back to like they're the old Syracuse team like they were a couple years ago. The big matchup at the 12 o'clock window was Ohio State, Penn State. Penn State gave it to Ohio State. They did. And honestly, I think with Ohio State, it's got to be a little bit troublesome in the sense of defensively, you were struggling. Clifford was throwing the ball on you. And from an offensive perspective, I know they scored 44 points, and I get that. But offensively, if you watch that game, they were not converting in the red zone. And a lot of the points for Ohio State is because of the defense forcing turnovers. Got to remember, Penn State had 4 turnovers in this game. 4. In the first 2 drives, Penn State threw 2 interceptions. And then in the last 2 drives of the game, essentially, Clifford fumbles it and then throws a pick six to a defensive end. By the way, that defensive end for Ohio State, number 44, might be the best defensive player in college football. What he did in that game might have been one of the greatest individual games I've ever seen in my life. He had 2 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 interceptions, a pick six, 5 tackles for loss for a defensive lineman is outrageous. But Penn State outgained Ohio State in this game in yards. Penn State had more first downs. They were better on third down. They had more plays. They had more time of possession. Penalties were on Ohio State's side. The issue is when it mattered most, James Franklin didn't call. James Franklin made some questionable calls. Cannot lie. Clifford had some "what are you doing" moments, and for whatever reason, I don't know whoever our defensive. I don't know if it was our defensive coordinator's idea. I don't know if it was a defensive backs coach idea. But sooner or later, you have to realize maybe you should cover Marvin Harrison better than just going with one-on-one. Marvin Harrison Jr., 10 catches and 185. It just felt like constantly he was just getting big plays and just kept getting those huge chunk plays. CJ Stroud played very well, but I wouldn't say it was his best game ever. So, but overall, if you're Ohio State, you kind of got to be a little nervous because Penn State, you were losing by 5 points at one point with 10 minutes to go. And then you had that explosion of points in a very short period of time. But it's like Michigan's not going to let that up on you. You know what I mean? So Ohio State, that's going to be a little bit scary. TCU, West Virginia, TCU staying undefeated. I'm going to tell you this right now. TCU stays undefeated and they win the Big 12 championship, which I think they probably will do. You will see the Horned Frogs in the college football playoff this year. And honestly, I'm excited for it. Max Duggan is playing outstanding football. Kansas State put a beating on Oklahoma State. That game wasn't even competitive. Will Howard, the quarterback for Kansas State, who I don't even think's their starter, but he balled out. In Oklahoma State, that was ugly. To say the least, that was ugly. Somehow they're still ranked. Somehow they're still ranked after that. But
how are you a top 10 team and don't put any points up?
It's bad. That was bad. And they're a good offense too. Like they are known for offensive explosion. That is piss poor.
Yep.
A big upset too. Another big upset. Wake Forest got absolutely destroyed by Louisville. 48-21, guys. And it's not even like Louisville did anything offensively that was crazy. Honest to God. They ran the ball pretty well. They threw the ball okay, but Wake Forest quarterback threw 3 interceptions. And Louisville in the third quarter outscored Wake Forest 35-0. That'll do it. But yeah.
It looks like, I mean, if you're looking at the box score quarter by quarter, it looks like Wake Forest should have won the game if you take out that third quarter.
Yeah, if you take out the third quarter, they probably do win the game. I mean, you give up 35 points.
Wake Forest was up going into the half.
Yeah, 14-3 or 13, yeah.
And you come out of halftime and what? You just forgot how to play football?
It's outrageous, guys. Another game, guys. Oregon is here to play. They're good. They beat the shit out of California. Bo Nix 6 touchdowns. Might not be pretty. Might not be pretty, but he's getting the job done. So that is outstanding news for the Ducks. When it comes to Georgia, Florida, Georgia, well, they beat Florida, beat them up pretty bad. They had 4 rushing touchdowns in this game. They had well over 200 yards rushing. It's just Georgia's dominant, man. I mean, it's hard to beat them. It really is.
Yeah, this matchup between them two, this weekend is gonna be real.
Oh yeah, Tennessee.
Georgia
We're gonna get to
and Tennessee
soon too.
They moved Tennessee to number 2. You see that?
Yeah, they're tied. Yeah, I mean, they should be. They should be right now. They got the best resume. They got absolutely the best resume. They should be up there. How about this?
Ohio State was number 2 this past week. They number 3 now. Well, no, they tied.
No, they're tied.
2, actually.
Yeah, they're tied for 2.
Tennessee and Ohio State are tied for number 2. That is insane. I've never seen the committee or even the AP poll ever put out 2 number 2s next to 2 teams. That goes to show you that
crazy.
you can. It's hard to decipher which one is worse than not. They're about the same. They're saying so.
Yeah.
They said they're the same, and they giving that Ohio,
What-
they giving that Tennessee and Georgia game real big implications for college football playoffs. So you're gonna get a preview of the college football playoff this weekend for sure.
Yep.
So
This is what I don't get about the AP poll. And yes, I know Alabama is Alabama. But 1 through 5, and that's including the tied team, Tennessee and Ohio State. 1 through 5 is all 8-0. Then here comes Alabama at number 6 at 7-1, and then right below them is TCU at number 7, 8-0. How does that ranking system even make sense? Other than the fact that yes, Alabama is Alabama, and they play in the SEC, and they play well in the SEC. And their only loss happens to be against Tennessee. But what makes them better, I guess, than TCU right now?
I mean, right now, to me, I agree with you. I think TCU is the better team, but overall, it's just right. I mean, it's Alabama. That's how the poll works. Right now, Tennessee should be 1, but because Tennessee hasn't been up there in quite some time, they're going to give it to Georgia because they're the national champion. But I agree with you completely. It should be TCU, but that's just kind of how the poll goes.
Yep. I mean, it's just it sometimes these polls piss me off because of stupid crap like that. But
like for instance, Michigan should be over Ohio State right now. Michigan should be over Ohio State today. Both of those teams, their toughest opponent was Penn State. Michigan beat the shit out of Penn State. And Ohio State, it took them, I'm going to remind you again, 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Penn State was up 5, 21-16. And then Ohio State goes on a run. Penn State just turns the ball over, stupid mistakes. And Ohio State, all of a sudden, they score 28 points out of nowhere. So to me, I would say I agree with you completely, but the poll just goes, what we've seen before, we're going to bring it to now. So that's just the way they do it. Speaking of Big Ten, though, I want to talk about Illinois real quick. They are looking great. Chase Brown, another big time game. Tommy DeVito, 20 of 22 from throwing the ball. They're looking good. They played great against the Cornhuskers. Right now, they're number 14, and it looks like we're going to see Illinois in the Big Ten championship game, which is great to see. It's finally nice to see. It's not Iowa or Wisconsin like it's been for the last couple of years, or Northwestern out of nowhere. So I'm actually happy that Illinois is getting their opportunity right now.
And it's just not even in football with Illinois. I don't know what happened over there at that college, but I mean, even basketball's picking up. I mean, they've had a slump for the last couple of years or so, but the college basketball over there, or just that college in general, sports wise, it's all picked up in the last year or two, and it's definitely
for sure. Illinois is stepping up to the plate with these athletics. I mean, I guess they're feeding them some different kind of protein now than they were in the past, I believe. So Illinois, I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, I'm from Chicago, so everything is just purple and black. Everything is Northwestern. You being from Chicago, but hey, I'm actually happy for my state school. Come on, Illinois, go do something. Represent Illinois. Northwestern is representing really just Chicago. I mean, it's representing Illinois as well. I mean, don't get it twisted, but Northwestern is really a big Chicago school and things like that. You go down south, people want to go to Illinois. So definitely, come on, Illinois. Nice way to step up.
Great to see that they're doing great. And speaking of what we were talking about SEC with Tennessee. Kentucky coming into this game was a ranked team. Oh, they're good. Will Levis is back healthy. Oh, here we go. And, I mean, yes, we know Tennessee's offense is just different. Hendon Hooker, another great performance. Jalen Hyatt, another big performance. But I want to talk about, Donovan, they allowed – Will Levis didn't even have 100 yards passing, and he had 3 interceptions. They beat them 44-6. It was not competitive. I mean,
At all.
Tennessee. Like
At
what
all.
I don't what shocks me right now is their defense. We've been questioning their defense, I feel like, for the majority. Is like, can their defense hang in with the Georgias? Can they hang in? They were able to hold off Alabama just enough. Now they just beat a team in Kentucky who not a bad team, Kentucky. They're good. They were really good at one point.
For the
And
first time in a
now?
while. I'll say that.
Yeah,
But
and I gotta say, Tennessee, before this week, I was going, Tennessee's good, Georgia's going to win still. Now I don't know. I don't know.
this is the big thing with the SEC in general too. You know somebody from somewhere in the SEC will be in that championship game come the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. Normally we're thinking Alabama or Georgia. This year,
I think Tennessee is.
Where the crap did Tennessee come from?
They were good last year. They weren't great to be ranked, but dude, something's clicking. Tell me if you disagree with me. Does this not give you 2019 LSU vibes right now? Like what Tennessee's doing?
Yeah.
I mean, Hendon Hooker, transfer. That's Joe Burrow. I mean, just overall offense, just Hyatt looks like the Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson of that team. I mean, just defensively, they're not defensively. They weren't great. LSU, they weren't bad. They had guys. Don't get me wrong, but they weren't outstanding. But they played very well. But man, this Tennessee team, they can score 30 points in a quarter, and you wouldn't be surprised. But this is going to be a test against Georgia because Georgia, again, like we've talked about. Defensively, Georgia's a different breed. They're just different defensively. Offensively, Stetson Bennett isn't the greatest quarterback ever, but he's good enough. And offensively, they just know how to score points. And they put the ball in the end zone better than almost everybody else. And Tennessee right now, man, it's hard for me not to say Hendon Hooker is the Heisman. He has to be the Heisman right now. He is playing some great football.
My Heisman vote is Hooker. It has to be. I mean, what he's done with it. I mean, Tennessee for the last 4 years in general has been subpar as a football subpar. Last year, decent season, like you said, not able to get ranked. This year, how do you not have a kid like that as the Heisman winner?
Exactly. I completely agree. But moving on with some other games too. I want to go on with the SEC right now. Or I'm not sorry, not SEC. ACC.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody called on North Carolina against Pitt coming into the year was a ranked team and kind of had some expectations. But North Carolina right now, they had a bad loss early in the year, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was to, but right now they're playing some really good football. And guys, the quarterback for North Carolina, I don't know if you're paying attention. Drake May, 29 touchdowns to 3 interceptions on the year. He is different right now. Against Pitt. Oh my God, 5 touchdowns. It's beautiful what he's been doing this year. And right now, UNC is, let's be honest, the ACC, we know Clemson's going to be there, but it's up for grabs for that second team right now. And like right now, they are leading it in their side of the conference. And the second team right now to them is Duke. And I'm sorry to break it to Duke. You're not catching up to UNC right now. So it's looking like a Clemson, North Carolina ACC championship game. And I'm going to be so excited to see how Drake May looks against that team. Because right now, we're talking about Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Hendon Hooker. We're talking about, well, a lot of people like Will Levis, too, from Kentucky, even though he had a bad game. But Drake May, who wouldn't want a kid like Drake May right now? He's 6'5". He's a big quarterback. He can throw the ball. He's a decent athlete. I mean, he looks good, guys, right now.
Yeah, that's it. That's right about that. I mean, ACC is up for grabs. Clemson, North Carolina, most likely. So with that, that's football for the day. I just got some news that Luka is on fire right now. With him dropping 44 points last night, he becomes the first player to have 30-plus points in all of the first 6 games. Since
He's different.
1986. Guess who the last person to do it? Michael Jordan.
I think. Yeah.
So he's wearing what? Jordans. So I tell you, man, it runs in the brands, man. It runs in the brands. So yeah, that's crazy. So we're gonna go to Don Lockey. Give us the rundown.
Well, it was a eventful weekend. Multiple games played. I'll start us off on Saturday as much as I don't want to. First game up, Canadians beat the Blues. We're just going to skip over that one for right now. They won 7-4, but Rangers beat the Stars, which that's going to be that's an interesting final score because that'll be something to watch later on in the season. Rangers and Stars probably going to be 2 teams at the end that are going to be right there at the top of their divisions. Panthers beat Ottawa. Lightning beat the Sharks. Buffalo beat Chicago 4-3 in overtime. Red Wings beat Wild again. Wild, I don't know what's going on with them right now. Red Wings are rolling compared to what they have been doing in previous seasons. 4-2-2. Kings beat the Maple Leafs. Hurricanes beat the Flyers. New York Islanders beat the Avalanche. And Capitals beat the Predators. Oilers beat the Flames. That is going to be another I think those two are going to be playing each other in the playoffs again this year. So that'll be an interesting series to watch in the playoffs and throughout the season because they're playing each other multiple times throughout the season. But, Oilers and Flames, definitely going to be a competitive game every time they play. And that's what it looked like here. 3-2, very close game.
If the playoffs started right now, the Flyers and the Blackhawks would be in there.
Let's go. Let's go.
The playoffs started today, they'd be in there.
Well, it's a good thing that those don't start till end of the season.
4 months from now.
No, I do want to touch on my Blues. What I watched Saturday night, and I have no idea what it is. Off to a hot start. They scored in the first 2 minutes of the game. Canadians came back and scored again, tied it up in the first period. And then from there on, it was pretty much just south for the Blues. It has the second period. Our second period has been our worst period this entire season. And we actually played decent. We scored 2 goals in the second period on Saturday, but we gave up 3. And in the second and third period combined, we gave up 6 goals to our 3. So we're starting games off strong. It was a very physical start to the game, but there's something going on, and I can't put my finger on it, but it is the Blues are playing horrendous, and they have a game tonight against the Kings, which they better win, or I'm not watching another game the entire season. So that's all I got to say about that.
Kings are pretty good though, right? Or are they? How are they doing this year? In your opinion,
they're 5-5. They're decent, but it's still the Kings. We need to beat them.
I hear you.
And I will say, in the Blues' defense, every team in the entire NHL is into double-digit games already played. We've only played 7 games. The first 2 weeks of the season, we played 2 games, and so we are facing a little bit of a deficit there as far as games played and having a new team and new people out on the ice together. But it's still inexcusable to be taking the lead as they do and then inexplicably giving it away. I think at one point Saturday we were up 3-1, and from there on it just awful, just pitiful. Yesterday, Bulls beat the Blue Jackets 7-1. Not really a shock there. Wild beat the Blackhawks 4-3.
Yeah, sadly.
Now here is a shocker. Anaheim Ducks beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-3 in overtime. The Ducks are horrendous.
Keep
The
telling you
Ducks
the Toronto Maple Leafs are so overrated, it's ridiculous. We all know that.
Yeah, I mean it's still, for how much talent the Maple Leafs have, it's still shocking when they lose to a team that is 2-6-1. You know,
It's like the Cowboys all over.
Yeah. Rangers beat the Coyotes 3-2, and Golden Knights beat the Jets 2-1. Golden Knights
looking good.
They are looking incredible. They may be, as much as I hate to say it, they might be in the Stanley Cup Finals this year. But
Eichel, baby.
Yep. And Eichel had 1 goal and 1 assist last night with a +2. So
scored the game winner.
So what?
That guy Alex Stalock.
The game winner went to overtime.
But Alex Stalock for the Blackhawks had a .914 save percentage. That's pretty good. But he just let 1 goal past him in the shootout. He let one too many goals past him in the shootout. Freddie Gaudreau, he shot it past Stalock, and they got the win in shootout time. So sucks right there. But we were playing so well, and dropped 2 the last 3. That's how you know it's definitely a season. Freddie Gaudreau is going to have a good season this way he's been playing. Shaw had 1 goal, 1 assist.
Yep.
I mean, Boldy had 2 goals. So that goes to show you that man is lightning right now. He's flying around the ice. Definitely getting shots in for sure. I mean,
yep.
Already got like 5 on the season, Matt Boldy. So, I mean, even though they're not playing their best, even though the Wild isn't playing their best hockey, I mean, they got some guys putting in goals.
They do. They do. And that's part of the reason why it's so shocking the way they've been playing. It's because they have guys. I mean, they got some guys that can play some hockey. And it's just, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a Wild game just yet. And I can guarantee you it's probably just because stuff isn't clicking just yet for them. Like I said, still early in the season, anything can happen. And I want to see the Wild take a turn, and it needs to be a quick turn. That then they need to make a turnaround and get these guys playing the Wild hockey we're used to seeing in the last 2, 3, 4 years. But
tomorrow the Rangers got the Flyers, so.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be tough. I mean, we got Zibanejad. He got 6 goals this season. He's tied for 8th, so in the entire year. So you got 1 man to stop from scoring. You better stop Micah.
I want to talk about skating leaders real quick. Friday, when we had our last episode, Connor McDavid was not in the top 5 for goals or points. He now leads in both goals and points.
That goes to show you in one weekend you can have
that.
You can just go stupid.
He's too good, bro. He's too good.
He is a dog, and he is. That is absolutely insane. Jake Oettinger for the Dallas Stars, that their goalie, 1.4 goals against average, 0.952 save percentage, second in both goals against average and save percentage. Kid is good, real good. Now, Stars just need to keep him healthy throughout the length of the season, and they'll be all right. Yep. He also has 5 wins, which ties him for second. So they got a good guy in their net right now. I'm trying to see.
I mean, the Dallas Stars last year went to a real like competitive series as I saw with them with the Calgary Flames. I mean, I watched some of that over my grandma's house and over my grandma's house, yeah. And Jake Ottinger had all you kept hearing was him just saving stuff, bro. I mean, all you kept hearing like they had Roddy Gaudreau as well on the Flames, and like Jake Ottinger just kept stopping every shot Gaudreau was putting in. So it's like, bro.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I was rooting for the Flames that game because I had actually, had the Flames in one of my parlays. So I was like, kind of on edge as well. But
now I will say this: the Dallas Stars did just have to call somebody up because Jake Ottinger is out with an injury that just got today. He's out. There was another injury that was a pretty big one.
That's tough.
Let me try and find it. Yeah, that's going to be tough for the Stars. They need to get him to bounce back
quickly.
Very quickly. Van Zerendijk was put onto injured reserve on Saturday for the Flyers. Will miss the next 6 weeks. He had surgery on a broken finger. Coutier,
they went a lot of those games, though.
Back revision surgery, injured reserve, probably out till the end of the season, out 3 to 4 months. Still not who I wanted to talk about, though. Here it is. Kyle Clifford for the Toronto Maple Leafs has a shoulder problem that was posted as an undisclosed injury on the 26th. That's now he's having some sort of a shoulder problem. And TJ Oshie for the Washington Capitals is out indefinitely with a lower body injury, and John Carlson also is not going to play tonight against Carolina with a lower body injury. That is two big time players for the Washington Capitals that they will be missing tonight. But they do get to look forward to Alexeyev. He's in a conditioning stint with the AHL Hershey team, and so he should be coming back hopefully soon, which will be good for them as well. But yeah, it's that hurts for the Washington Capitals, especially when they have Tom Wilson and Nicholas Backstrom out for a while, and they've been out for a while. Capitals losing another forward and one of their anchoring D-men is that's going to hurt. To wrap up NHL, though, we have 3 games tonight. Kings at Blues. That game is at 7:00 on ESPN Plus. Red Wings at Sabres, which that will be a good game. Red Wings are 4-2-2. Sabres are 5-3. That game is at 6:00 on ESPN Plus, and then Capitals at Hurricane, which that will also be another good game at 6:00 on NHL Network. So I got a couple of good games, and then we'll see what the Blues can do. But geez, I hate the Blues at times. But that is what it is. Well, no, hold on. Got another just another article if you want to look it up, and you have ESPN Plus and you want to look it up. Should the NHL do more to prevent tanking? Connor Bedard probably going to be the number 1 pick in the draft this year. He's a generational talent like that of Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews and Sidney Crosby. He's being compared to that caliber of player. He's coming into the NHL next year in this next draft. And it could be evident that some of these teams that know that they have no shot whatsoever at winning a Stanley Cup this year are tanking their season to secure that number 1 spot.
Wish my Flyers were doing it.
Say what?
So I wish my Flyers were doing that. But no, we're actually trying.
Yeah. No, that's something that we can it's an interesting article if anybody watching wants to go take a look at it. And it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays out too. So
Can we all agree that the worst case scenario, he goes to the Coyotes? Like, I'm sorry, they're such a dumpster fire of a franchise. If he goes to the Coyotes, I will be very upset. I will be very upset.
The Coyotes are smart enough to move him after they get him.
Yeah, they'll probably
They'll
just
probably
trade
trade
him. They need money, right? Yeah, they need money. So it's like, here,
Yeah.
we'll trade him, but you got to give us like a $200 million because we need a new stadium.
Yeah,
can't be-
that's exactly what I was going to say.
But yeah, that's all for hockey. In other news, we got the FIFA World Cup coming up in about 21 days. 21
Oh.
days.
I
FIFA.
can't wait.
FIFA is
Hey.
back. The World Cup
Absolutely.
is back.
My wife's
One
going to be
day.
mad. I'll be watching soccer instead of hockey for once, but she'll be all right.
Sure,
She'll
man.
get
I'm
over.
gonna be tuned in. I'm really gonna be tuned in.
Hey, we got
definitely when you're
MLS
spending time with your
championship too.
families. Definitely when you're spending time with the
MLS.
family at Thanksgiving. Definitely that's gonna be on the TV screen. The FIFA World Cup.
Should be
But
fun. A lot of fun.
news. But in news in FIFA, France is Paul Pogba is not going to play for the FIFA France team. Paul Pogba is out. He's not playing because he had just undergone successful knee surgery. So France does not have Paul Pogba this year. So
Wow.
that's a killer right there. That hurts.
Let's go USA.
Yes, for sure.
So here's something, just because you brought up MLS, Billy. There is talk of Lionel Messi moving to Inter Miami.
If he does that,
Nice.
that's
Dude, come to the Union. The Union, we're on top of the world. We got the best goalkeeper right now in the entire sport. Come over here. Come over to Philadelphia. We're sick. We're about to win a championship too. You know how it goes. We're right now in the championship, so let's go Union.
yeah. I mean, my Chicago Fire ain't doing a squat right now, but hey, man, they tied up the last game they had, so I'm impressed. It's better than the last past 10 years they've had, where it's just hurtful.
Oh,
But
pretty.
it just hasn't been great, but they're stepping up. So Cubs, another news. Wilson Contreras is still on the block. Definitely, I would love for you guys to re-sign my guy. He brings a lot of energy to that clubhouse. I mean, he's definitely a leader on that team. You got to have veteran leadership, and people would want to come see Wilson Contreras. I mean, we traded Baez, we traded Rizzo, we traded Bryant. We got that. That's over and done with. We're moving on for the future. Definitely stamp Wilson Contreras, though. That's a cornerstone that you need to have as well. So I'm hoping they do that for us.
We have two news in baseball. So Carlos Correa, is on the Dodgers' radar because they believe that Trey Turner is going to try to go back to the East Coast. So Carlos Correa in a potential Dodger uniform. And another news is Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, was talking with Mad Dog, which is, a radio station.
And
And
radio, go check them out.
Absolutely. On, I believe, Sirius XM.
Yeah.
Rob Manfred says, quote, he's no longer optimistic the Athletics will remain in Oakland and will likely be moving to Las Vegas, end quote. I mean, listen, when it comes to Oakland, when it comes to the sports world, we've seen Golden State. They used to play near Oakland. Now they're more towards San Francisco. We've seen the Raiders move from Oakland to Coliseum. Now they're over in Las Vegas as well. We've seen, the Athletics have had the worst attendance in baseball over the last couple of years. They don't pay for anybody. You know what I mean? I mean, the Athletics, when it comes from a management standpoint, they don't pay for anybody.
I mean, they just don't got the money to. Ain't no money in Oakland.
Yeah, so when you get to Vegas, it's definitely going to help. I mean, look what
Oh, yeah.
think about it with the Rams, St. Louis when they moved to the Los Angeles, it paid huge dividends for them boys. Looks like it's paying the Raiders. They've looked better in Vegas than they've looked with the Raiders in the last 15 years. Or in Oakland, excuse me. So I think that this would be helpful in that aspect. But again, for the city of Oakland, you went from having 3 teams in your city pretty much, and now you have none. And that's just got to be not, it's
Well,
got to be a little
if
brutal
you,
to wake
I mean,
up to
well,
the
I
news
wanted
of
to
that.
say, if you're in Oakland, you're most likely a Giants fan anyway. If you're living in Oakland, you're 9 times out of 10, you're a Giants fan. You know, I mean, you're not nothing knocking against the A's, but people, if they want to see winning baseball, where are they going? They're going to San Francisco. You know, they're not going
Yeah.
to go
With
sit at
that,
an
yeah, I get
Oakland
that.
game. Like, so you're just doing that city a favor and making all Oakland fans just turn San Francisco fans, which they're already still Warriors fans. Don't get it twisted. Oakland is still Warrior City. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're really just moving all the teams out of there. I mean, and they're all already San Francisco fans. So, I mean, they're 49er fans. They're Giants fans and they're Warriors fans. So you're really just doing them a favor by just making them stay on one fan base and, you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
using that, whatever they got, stadiums, use it for, building up college teams or something. I don't know. But there's not a lot of
Yeah, I
money in
guess.
Oakland. So it's a good decision if the A's head to Vegas,
They
financial
should.
standpoint.
Oh, absolutely. And I completely agree. Another thing I would also like to add is this is outside baseball world. I'm going to go into the world of boxing. We talked about Anderson Silva, Jake Paul, and Jake Paul gets the win by unanimous decision. I don't know if you guys saw the fight. I watched a little bit of it. Anderson Silva, for 47 years old, looks like he could still throw some punches, man. He was giving Jake Paul a little bit of a battle. The issue is Jake Paul is half his age, so he's going to be quicker. He's going to just be in better condition already, and he was able to win the fight. Now, what does Jake Paul do next? I mean, does he go on to try to fight an actual boxer this time? I saw a post that he might fight a boxer from New Zealand. I forget his name off the top of my head. There's him and KSI, because that was a huge thing. Will that actually happen? We don't know. There was talks before, if you guys remember, that him and Logan were going to fight. Was that going to happen? I mean, that's just the biggest money grab of all time. But, seriously, what do we think about Jake Paul? Does him and Anderson go for round 2? I mean, I don't think they do, but what are we thinking with that one?
I think Logan Paul should never be considered an actual boxer, or Jake Paul for that matter. Sorry. He should never be considered an actual boxer. He doesn't – he's fighting washed up guys. I mean, look at his fights. Who's still a current fighter? Active.
Well, here's the thing. Anderson Silva was boxing. Like, he's been boxing. He's going into that fight. Anderson Silva was 5-1. He actually beat a champion. Like, Anderson Silva, it's not like he's just like it's Tyron Woodley coming out of retirement, or Ben Askren looks like he's coming off a bender off a weekend, or one of these guys. He's fighting a guy in Anderson Silva who's been training his whole life, who's still been training, who looks in good shape. It's just overall, it just comes to
47. I mean,
I know I'm not disagreeing, but it's not like Anderson Silva never boxed in his life and he's only been an MMA fighter. Anderson Silva is 5-1 as a boxer, and he's beaten good fighters. Like, Anderson Silva is not a bum in boxing.
It comes down to, though.
I agree with you. He should fight somebody his age.
Anderson Silva's boxing as a hobby and doing well.
He's doing it as a.
He's doing well at boxing as a hobby. His main sport, his main go-to thing was MMA.
Well, that's what it was, yeah. And then he got let go, and now he's become one of the best. Well, not one of the best boxers in the world. I'm not saying that, but like, he's become a very adequate boxer when it comes to
at 47
that aspect. I get that. Trust me, I do. But like
I still don't- I don't.
he beat a guy. Here, hear me out. He beat a guy, and I
At
am
last
not
second.
kidding you. He beat a guy 52-5. Like Anderson Silva is beating people up in his fights. He's not
Yeah.
bad.
But it's still the fact that Jake Paul is all about the clout. So he goes and he grabs a big name person, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva. All three guys that are outside of their prime, fighting time. They're outside of their prime. And he's going and he's beating them by decision or whatever he's beating them by, and it's he goes and he's saying he's a boxer, this, that, and the other. He's not.
Well, then let me ask you this.
I refuse to call him a boxer.
So does he have to fight a top-notch boxer? So does he have to fight Canelo? Or does he just have to fight a guy who's put on the gloves and he's not over the age of 30?
He needs to, if he wants to fight and if he fights in a contender type match, then I will call him a boxer if he wins.
What's a contender type match? I don't understand what you mean by that.
Fight somebody that's
Right, well,
at the same
we
caliber.
could go on
as
about
Canelo.
this.
Yeah, we can, but it's
I
the
believe-
fact that he's not fought anybody that is worth calling him a boxer for, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, we got all week to get into that though for sure.
Yeah.
So
Personally, I think the win against Anderson Silva, I'm not saying it was the greatest win. I think the expectation was to knock him out, but I think overall, the way he was boxing, I thought he boxed a good fight. I thought he did very well. He wasn't going for the kill. He was picking them apart. Honestly, if you wanted to, if it was with Tyron Woodley, I agree with you. With Ben Askren, I agree with you. Beating up Nate Robinson, I agree with you. But when it comes to Anderson Silva, who has boxed before, it's not like he's never boxed. He's still a great striker. Again, like I said, he beat a guy who's 52-5, who was a champion, and he beat him. And then he just beat Tito Ortiz recently. To be honest, he was going to beat Tito Ortiz. That dude's not very good at boxing, to be completely honest with you. But anyways, when it comes to Anderson Silva, like, to me, I thought that was impressive. I thought it was. Because Anderson Silva is a striker. It's not like he's not a striker. Tyron Woodley is not really a striker. Ben Askren can't throw a punch to save his life. But what's his name? But Anderson Silva can.
Yeah. All right, we're up against the guys. We can go on about this all day. We got, all this week to talk about Anderson Silva. We'll just wrap up a little faster next time with other topics so we can get back into Anderson Silva and Paul. Got any questions or anything or comments or concerns, definitely hit the comment below. Definitely subscribe to our channel, share it, do whatever you got to do to it. Just, hope you enjoyed the content. We got Billy, we got Don. DC was a little sick today, so he'll be back on Wednesday. And that's Shot of Sports. So appreciate all y'all tuning in. If you don't got anything else, definitely hit us up on our Instagrams or our social medias. That's in the bio below as well. Leave a comment and see you on Wednesday.
Fully wrapped. Poke it out.